Have you ever joined a Minecraft SMP where the only person you know is yourself? Well, in this video, two brand new players, Terry and Trinsy, joined my friend's modded Minecraft server where I tried my very hardest to make the worst first impressions on them. Now you're probably questioning how I would even be able to do this, but it was actually pretty simple. I just pretended like I was taking them hostage whilst acting as suspicious as possible, but before I could even start my plan, I had to travel to spawn and pick up Terry. However, since this is a modded Minecraft server, it's really quick and easy to get around using the heli mod, as it includes planes and helicopters. This also makes transporting other players a lot more convenient, as multiple people can be in a plane at a time. Now for the first part of my plan, I'm not going to be super mean. I'm going to give Terry a brief tour of the SMP whilst acting extremely sketchy to make him feel like he's in a little bit of danger. So the very first destination I took him to was Juliet's house. A unique feature of this place is the electric fence, where if you get zapped you lose hearts. Therefore, if someone stands at the fence for too long, it will ultimately lead to their death. Now you see this fence, I want you to stand near it.
No, I'm good.
But unfortunately for me, Terry said that the only way that he would stand there is if I stood at the fence first. I reluctantly agreed, as I was confident enough that there was no way that I would be stupid enough to die by a fence. However, that didn't go to plan, as I did in fact die. As I was heading back to Juliet's house, Terry managed to get struck down by the electric fence as well. So in the end, did my goal really fail? However, it was now time to move on to phase 2 of my plan, where I led Terry down into Juliet's basement, where I made a shocking discovery that the whole place had been cleared out and the scientific laboratory was no longer there. Because of this, I had to act like I knew about that factor all along, but whilst walking out, I remembered that Juliet had a secret stairwell that went all the way down to bedrock. You might also be wondering what's at the end of this stairwell. Absolutely nothing. Now, because of this annoyance, it is the perfect place to take Terry for a visit. But as we were both walking down the stairwell, Jeeb joined the game. Now, who is Jeeb, you may ask? A good friend of mine who also happens to be the server owner. So I slightly panicked because this could mean the end of my malicious plan. But luckily for me, Jeeb thought that I was just giving Terry a harmless SMP tour.
What are you doing?
Nothing,
Jeeb.
After reaching the bottom of the stairwell, there was a short hallway where I started to mine out a stone square so that I could attempt to trap Terry in there, as he didn't have any tools. But as I was digging, he became slightly aware of my plan, got scared, and he ran away from me. But after chasing him down, I was able to convince him to come back with the reassurance that I wouldn't kill him. As I continued to dig out the hole, I was very distracted, so I hadn't realized that Terry had ran away from me again, and he blocked me in using the few materials that he owned.
You got stuck. Enjoy.
Unfortunately for him, I have a pretty quick pickaxe, so I was able to catch up to him very easily. For some reason, Terry wasn't satisfied with the server tour, so he made a request for Jeeb to come and pick him up.
Jeeb, gonna come pick me up in a helicopter so I don't have to deal with this.
Jeeb obliged and started to travel over to our current location. However, I still had time to show Terry one more place. So I decided to take him to Jess's home on top of the mountains. When we entered the house, Jess happened to have a cactus inside of her home, which made me think of an awesome plan. So the plan was to build a staircase up to the cactus and have Terry stand next to it. But unsurprisingly, it did not go according to plan, as he absolutely refused to do this and started to run away from me. And since I couldn't allow for this to happen, I threatened Terry with my gun. I gave him a few warning shots and he hastily got back into the house and climbed up to the cactus. Except the thing is, he only got pricked by it and he did not come anywhere close to death. But at this point, Terry stopped caring whether he would live or die, as he ran away from me knowing that I could easily kill him. But since he made the decision to leave, I shot him down. Now what I wasn't aware of is that Jeeb had almost made it to our location. This meant that it became a chase for who could track down Terry first. Terry!
Get away from me!
Unfortunately for me, Terry had somehow made it into the nether. This meant that I had no way of reaching him, as I had no clue of where the nether portals on the server were. So I used this as an opportunity to scare Terry, to make him think that I actually wanted him to be in the nether. Just head to the nether, my good old buddy, old pal. There's totally nothing waiting for you in the nether, Terry.
There's also nothing
at all
waiting for you in the nether at all, Louise.
After a few minutes, Terry was discovered by Jeeb, so now he was safe from me. Now, if you're trying to leave a bad impression on someone and the victim runs away from you, you're obviously going to try and get that person back. So I made a plan to locate him. I narrowed down the options and came to a few conclusions. 1. Almost anywhere, or 2. someone's house. But thinking about it logically, it was most likely that Jeeb would have taken Terry to his own base, so the only thing left for me to do now was head over there. After a little bit of traveling, I reached my destination, but when I arrived, I realized that in order to have Terry back, I needed to make a business deal with Jeeb. The deal was that if I gave Terry back, I wouldn't destroy his whole house with my tank. But as a reply, he flew up onto the roof and exploded my plane, causing damage to his roof anyway. Turns out he saw through my lie, as he knew that I wouldn't actually destroy his house. So I needed to think of a new strategy, but I'm gonna be completely honest, I could not think of anything at all. So to kill the time, I started to steal the planes that were parked on the ground. However, Jeeb caught me in the act. Now as much as I do like stealing, I also value my life. So I left his plane there and walked away. I sat in my tank for a few minutes when I realized that if I could convince Terry to hop inside, I could take him back to my place where my new goal to hold him hostage would be fulfilled. After a little bit of convincing, he jumped into the tank and I started to drive away. But it turns out he was the one pranking me, as he jumped out as soon as we started to leave Jeeb's base. Out of frustration, I tried to recapture him or run over him with my tank, but this proved to be impossible because he was surrounded by Jeeb and his stuff. However, another player, Trinzy, also happened to be at Jeeb's base, so I shot them down out of spite, even though they did not do anything to me. Now because of my reckless action, Jeeb decided that he needed to avenge Trinzy and killed me as well. So both me and Trinzy were at spawn, and since Trinzy is fairly new to the server, Jeeb offered to pick them up and take them back to his base. This meant that if I stayed near Trinzy, I would also be able to get a lift back, so I made sure to stay fairly close to them. To kill the time, I offered everyone who was in the voice chat a business deal to get rich quick. Join my pyramid scheme. Get rich quick. It's where we steal from Jeeb.
Yeah, I think when you want people to join a pyramid scheme, you're not supposed to tell them that it's a pyramid scheme.
Sadly though, no one took my proposal seriously and they all just laughed it off. But I was dead serious about this, so I continued to market my business. Come on Jeeb, haven't you ever thought about stealing from yourself?
Oh, I do that all the time.
Unfortunately, no one wanted to join my business, so my pyramid remained unschemed. But whilst contemplating how to make my business more appealing, Trinzy randomly attacked me, so of course I had to fight back, and unsurprisingly I won. Shortly after this, Jeeb made his way to spawn where he tried his very best to only pick up Trinzy and completely avoid picking me up as well. So his plan was to have Trinzy continuously run away from me, but I just happened to be far too quick, and as a result I made it inside of Jeeb's aeroplane. On the way back, I came to the decision that I wanted a clean slate and to have a better impression, so I attempted to bond with Trinzy through my pyramid scheme, to which they just ignored me. I became angry as I was trying really hard to change for the better, but no one was accepting of my new lifestyle. This meant that the only thing I could do now was to rechange my plan and find ways of taking hostages using my buddy old pal Google. How to legally kidnap a friend of. But whilst conducting my research, I was suddenly attacked by another player, so I didn't even get an opportunity to use my newly acquired knowledge. Whilst in the middle of the fight, we had already landed at Jeeb's base, but the fighting continued on solid ground. However, since it was 2 against 1 and none of us had any weapons, I was unfortunately killed and was sent back to spawn. Since it would take a while to get back to Jeeb's base, I had the opportunity to research a separate method on how I could get the hostages back. So once again, I went to Google for answers, and it said that I should just steal them. I decided to be polite about it and asked them if I could, but they were both so rude and just ignored me. By any chance, do you want me to steal you? Google says I should.
How do I drive the plane?
After some careful contemplation, I realized that in order to take someone hostage, I needed to ask the hostees how I could kidnap them better. What would make it more appealing for me to kidnap you? You know? I need to know this.
Probably not having it called kidnap.
My very good friends, if I pull up in a Lamborghini with a sign that says free Wi-Fi, would you by any chance like to come on a little joyride with me?
I'd rather a tractor.
I took Terry's review very seriously and went home and got a tractor for my chest. I then drove to a different destination instead of Jeeb's base, my gun shop. The reason why I was able to get everyone to agree to come to this location is because I bribed them with the promise of free guns and ammo. Now you're probably wondering why I chose this place in particular. Well, the simple reason for that is, I don't know. The others arrived and I handed out the guns like promised. However, what I didn't account for was the ammo. I kind of forgot that I offered to give them both some, but the thing is I actually don't have any. The main reason for that is that it's really expensive to make, so I had to do my best to just store them in hopes that they would just forget about it.
Ammo.
Ooh.
I need ammo.
have to serve you both first though before I give you ammo. But as time went on, they both became very demanding and desperately wanted the ammo.
Okay, ammo, please.
Can we get ammo?
Now, because of their impatience, we ended up fighting, to which they somehow managed to kill me. Because even though I hadn't given them any ammo, they both had fully loaded guns. But if there's one thing you should learn from this, if you intend to try and hold someone hostage, don't give them weapons that are just as strong as your own. But if you did enjoy the video, subscribing would really help me out a lot.